The war rips through Bohol in 1744. Two powers go head-to-head in a battle for some mountain regions in the Bohol that will shake the very foundations of the Spain. The leader of Boholano people Francisco Dagohoy and Spain Governor Gaspar de la Torre Ayala may be kilometers apart, but in their minds, they stand over the same table. The modern day I will get inside their heads to unpick their tactics and strategy, while comparing their equipment and their firepower, to reveal just how the Battle of Bohol was won and lost. In 1744, war between the two sides was about to break out. Spain accused the Boholano people of launching a civil uprising and massacred Spanish on Bohol and seizing weapons from the Spanish troops. The Boholano people accused Spain of bullying the people too much and requiring them to pay heavy taxes and perform labor service. Francisco Dagohoy was the leader of the Boholano people at that time. He is a charismatic and leadership person. In his early years, he planned to lead the persecuted residents deep into the mountains to reclaim land to escape the Spanish. At that time, 3,000 people followed him into the mountains. Later he raised an army of 20,000 in the mountains, and launched a surprise attack on the Spanish garrison at Bohol. Then, his base gained independence from Spain. This time the opponent he encountered was Gaspar Antonio de la Torre y Ayala. He was the governor-general who came to the Philippines from Spain in 1739. He once dealt with the Sultanate of Sulu and conquered the pirate bases of Mindanao and Sulu, pursuing harsh tactics. Since the War of Jenkins' Ear 5 years ago, the Spanish army has increased its military preparations. 3 years ago, the Spanish army defeated the invading British Marines at the Battle of Cartagena de Indias. The morale of the Spanish army is now high. They believe they can restore their past glory. The British were no match for them. Not to mention colonial thugs. In 1744, the war was imminent. Francisco Dagohoy knows if he wants to compete with Spain in the future, must be self-sufficient in food. But being located in a mountainous area, how to maintain the residents' physical strength is a big problem. After attacking the Spanish, he got a lot of new land, and he came up with a plan, which was collective farming. The content of this plan is to classify newly acquired land as public land, allowing farmers without land to work on the new land together, and farmers who do farming will be recognized as having the right to use the land. Collectivization brought undeniable benefits to some rural inhabitants, especially those who had owned little or no land. It freed them from laboring on the fields of others, and it increased their control over wages, lending to their daily existence a stability previously unknown to them. In addition, this helped the revolution to have the least amount of food shortages no matter the turbulent weather, and then more than 15 dozen farms were collectivized in Bohol. In addition, he built many caves in his base. These caves are partially flooded but can be connected to other dry areas. This made it impossible for the Spanish army to find him easily. After several attacks, Spanish Governor Gaspar Antonio de la Torre y Ayala found that the Boholano people's army had not weakened. He was surprised to find that the Boholano people's army was very powerful. Instead, his troops continued to decline. So he adopted a plan of siege, trying to get the Boholano army in the mountains to consume supplies. He will then launch a general attack, which he believes will defeat Francisco Dagohoy. But what he didn't expect was that the Boholano army was not consumed. And there are a lot of caves in the mountains. His troops were unable to find the Boholano army to fight and were constantly harassed by traps and ambushes. After a year of ineffective attacks, the affair must have affected the governor's health, and he died a year after the battle began. Successive Spanish governors were unable to resolve the situation. Francisco Dagohoy continued to maintain the independence of the base. Even after his death, his revolutionary base remained independent. And his collective farming plan made the Bohol of today an agricultural superpower.